Redshift here, doing my part to shift perceptions out of the pink and into the red. Okay, so in today's video I'm going to be reading the MGTOW Manifesto, which I only just recently read. Zeitgeist just mentioned it a bunch of times, but I'd never gotten around to reading it before. I read it and I see what he means about it being, MGTOW actually making sense if you, define MGTOW by the MGTOW Manifesto. But I wanted to point out that I don't necessarily agree with that view per se, for the main reason that it may have started out this way, but it's no longer this way. It's already basically morphed and crystallized in this new form. And this new form is way more nihilistic, way more apathetic, way more hedonistic, way more vicious, way more short-sighted, way less focused on morality, way less focused on helping other men, etc., etc. It's very defeatist, passive, nihilistic, hedonistic, fuck it all, the world's gonna burn, just enjoy your life, fuck everybody, who cares, men can't get along, etc., etc. So I don't think we're going back, and I don't think we can go back. I mean, you can try to make MGTOW, you can try to roll it back, and I agree that there's a lot of value in the name, but when the movement is already completely morphed and completely crystallized in this new, totally different form than how it started out, I don't think there remains a lot of opportunity to change it. And because people express who they are, not because they believe in the movement. What I'm saying is, the reason that MGTOW men are the way they are is not just because, the MGTOW movement happens to be this way, so they're just going along with it. No, they're like expressing who they are. You know what I mean? Like, their nihilism, defeatism, apathy, hedonism, viciousness, selfishness, etc. This is all an expression of who they are. They're just bad people. It's just that simple. Now, some of them are bad people because they're very angry because of having men unjustly divorce raped, or maybe justly divorce raped, like if they're into fucked up shit like wife swapping. That's just like playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets in the chamber in one space. That's just, you're basically asking, you're just begging to get divorce raped if you do shit like that. So I think a lot of the guys who've been divorce raped deserved it because they're degenerates or whatever. But probably a lot of the guys who've gotten divorce raped did not deserve it. Or at least maybe they deserved some suffering for being bad husbands in one way or another, one way, shape, or form. But that doesn't mean that they deserve to lose their kid and lose every single penny they have and all that. So they're super, super pissed off about having been divorce raped. And if they weren't degenerates or something, they weren't psychos or whatever, if they were really good people, then I totally understand that rage, right? And not being able to get beyond it is also understandable, because it's like, how do you get beyond such severe damage? That's like telling a woman to just get over it when she gets raped. You know what I mean? That's like kind of ridiculous. I mean, that's like lifelong anger over something like that. And so these men, like TFM, are kind of being ridiculous when they act like men should just get over the red pill rage. I think a lot of MGTOW men are also incels, so that's probably also where the anger and the nihilism and the omnicidal apathy and defeatism come from. So I think there's and then top guys in MGTOW, Alt MGTOW and Yan Ling and these kind of guys, with top 1% or more like top 0.1% genes. Yeah, top 1.1% genes, definitely, because the top there's only like 0.1% of the population who have IQs above 140, or was it 145? I think it's 145. Yeah, so, those guys are incredibly high IQs. So those kind of guys are just, hedonists and selfish and stuff like that. And because they're hedonists, they're addicted to pleasure. They're unwilling to sacrifice to make the world a better place by forming a no-go zone or a commune or something, right? So that's what MGTOW is composed of, right? Like incels and guys who have been justly or unjustly divorce raped, or, whether you call it just if he, fucked his own marriage up, I don't know, whatever, maybe it's not quite the right word, but you get what I'm saying. Guys who have been, divorce raped, whether they sort of deserved it or not, incels, and the top guys who are just hedonistic and totally unwilling to sacrifice because of having, grown up in this sort of hedonistic, privileged way, because of them being from privileged families and them being top 0.1% in terms of genes, right? So that's what MGTOW is composed of. And I don't think it's gonna morph into a movement of people like me and Zeitgeist Eater who are principled people who want to make the world a better place and are being rational and are really truth oriented and freedom oriented rather than, hedonism and selfishness oriented, right? I don't think it's going back. I don't think it's changing. I tried to change it back when I didn't even think it was fatally flawed. I just thought it was flawed. So I criticized the flaws to make MGTOW better. I wanted it to get stronger and better, address its flaws, fix them, and then make the movement stronger and better, right? But it was just ignoring what I said, so I just kept thinking, about more and more about the stuff, and then I just started to realize there's massive, massive, unfixable, fatal flaws with MGTOW. Like MGTOW's absolute, refusal to acknowledge that promiscuity is completely unsustainable and destroys society entirely due to an incel revolutionary war, which is coming. And so, like Zeitgeist Eater has said before, the fabric of society matters. Duh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that because, like, Zeitgeist Eater is stupid. I'm saying that because everybody else is stupid, It's like, this is so fucking obvious that the fabric of society matters. It's mind-blowing that, like, other people don't seem to understand this just basic point, But at the same time, they're, like, complaining about government, but yet they're not willing to overthrow the government. They're still statists, right? Like, it's absolute insanity. They want to get the government, destroyed, but they're not actually going to try to do it. They're just going to let it crumble. But while at the same time making zero efforts to form their own sustainable communities that could endure such a horrific crash, like, a commune or a no-go zone or their own new country, right? They're unwilling to do any of that, right? Like, so MGTOW is just completely insane. It's absolutely insane. Not to mention, like, isn't complaining a feminine quality? And that's all MGTOW men do is complain. They're not actually trying to work toward, cohesive solutions or anything. But yeah, this is all just preface. But yeah, so the MGTOW Manifesto goes like this. It says, MGTOW Manifesto, men going their own way. MGTOW. The goal is to instill masculinity in men, femininity in women, and work toward limited government! Exclamation point. By instilling masculinity in men, we make men self-reliant, proud, and independent. By instilling femininity in women, we make them nurturing, supporting, and responsible. By working for limited government, we are working for freedom and justice. Women having other qualities, and they put other qualities in quotes, is not interesting to men because we don't need them! Exclamation point. Femininity will be the price women pay for enjoying masculinity in men. This is the aim of men going their own way. By holding this point of view, we are helping other men, and more importantly, we are helping boys grow up to become men. This goal is to take away everyone's, quote, right, and they put right in quotes, to vote on other people's affairs, thus rendering it impossible for political organisms and ideologies to impose their personal will on everyone. It is not about reinstalling patriarchy or revoking female rights or making socialism illegal. It might have this as a side effect, but not directly and not as a political ideology. Only the future will show what happens, and by going our own way, we are preparing men and boys for that future. It is important for men to have a practical approach to implementing our strategies. Prime strategies for achieving our goals. We have three main strategies. Number one, instilling masculinity in men by demanding respect for men, serving as good male role models, living independent lives, fighting chivalry. 2. Instilling femininity in women. We will hold women equally accountable to men and ignore and shun those who refuse to take any responsibility for their own circumstances. Thus we induce women to take a complementary position with men instead of a competitive position, as is now the case. Feminine qualities we want from women: nurturing, supportive, responsibility, respectfulness, honesty. 3. Limited government. In order to be independent of society and live within it, while at the same time work for limiting governmental influence upon our daily lives, men will go their own way, support other men, legally reduce any tax paying, truthfully act out any duties in accordance with their conscience, use any right to the benefit of other men as well as use any rights to the benefit of other men as well as themselves. It is those three strategies that come together in one. Men going their own way. This is the logo. And then they show that, like a square on its side, on its point, like a traffic sign, that's yellow, and then it has the black symbol with the road, going off to the side, the typical MGTOW symbol. Every man supporting this idea is welcome to use the logo in this or similar contexts. What we do as activism or the way we behave personally are the main tactics. Use a logo which symbolizes the strategy, run one or many websites and fora that promote this, run one or more websites which tells the truth about feminism, provide stickers, t-shirts, etc. which tells the truth about feminism, provide stickers, t-shirts, etc. with various statements such as chivalry is dead! Exclamation point. Writing articles supporting our product, producing music promoting our product, hold international events and local meetings, establishing men's clubs, boycotting certain products. You will basically be alone doing this. There is no organization supporting you. You just go your own way and do what you believe is right. You are never obligated beyond your own conscience. True masculinity is also about accepting the rights of other men and not letting them down for any short-term personal benefits. The men's movement does actually cover a much larger picture. By instilling masculinity as others, as well as yourself, you will actually be improving the lives of everyone, including women and children. If it's not right, go your own way. Take care, brother. The MGTOW logos in the MGTOW Manifesto are public domain, explicitly designated so by their creators, the men in MGTOW, to be used by anyone for the purpose of promoting MGTOW May 1st, 2006. Okay, so I found this online, and it was on blogspot.com. It's no-ma'am.blogspot.com, ma'am, not man. So noma'am.blogspot.com, and then something, like 2001-02 MGTOW-manifesto.html. And right above MGTOW Manifesto at the top there, it says Saturday, February 3rd, 2001, and then above that it says no ma'am. So I think this is the MGTOW Manifesto. I think this is the original. I typed in MGTOW Manifesto into Google or something, or DuckDuckGo, and then I think I clicked on a couple of links, and like the second link I clicked to was something. It wasn't Yahoo Answers, but it was something like that. And then the guy provided a link to this at the end of it. So I believe this is probably the one and only MGTOW Manifesto. And I see exactly what Zeitgeist Eater means. There's a lot of stuff in here that is talking about a little bit, or alluding to, some of the things that I've talked about. And this MGTOW Manifesto is way more on the ball than MGTOW is these days. And actually, the current version of MGTOW directly contradicts this manifesto in multiple ways. Okay, so the goal is to instill masculinity in men, femininity in women, and work toward limited government. Okay, but is MGTOW trying to instill masculinity in men? Well, I think that's currently now. Today's MGTOW. Well, I think this is debatable. Is it trying to instill femininity in women? I don't necessarily think so either. Because, when you are just demonizing women instead of trying to tell them what they should be, and what they could be, and what they used to be, and what they should be proud of being, and what they can be again, and what we would be happy to have them be again, and we would take them back if they were, when we're not doing that, but are instead just demonizing them for female nature and acting like there's not a scrap of good in any female. Because what MGTOW says about female nature is true, just like what it says about legal misandry is true. But MGTOW, as it currently exists, not the MGTOW Manifesto, but as it currently exists, is very flawed. And just because what it says about female nature is true doesn't mean that there's not more to female nature, like, the good aspects of female nature. So this is important. And as far as limited government, MGTOWs just want to bring about a crash these days. Most MGTOWs these days just want to bring about a crash, but they're not even preparing for a crash. It's crazy. And they don't seem to talk about limited government so much as, or anarcho-capitalism. I mean, I do, but they don't seem to talk about this, and Zeitgeist Theater does. But they more just act like, we just need to get the misandric laws repealed, that's all. And that'll be limited enough. As if that wouldn't, as if that would get rid of the debt-based fiat currency problem, or the massive spending problem, or the over, making it everything either explicitly legal or illegal, leaving no room for freedom. MGTOW doesn't seem to be aimed at limited government even. And as far as instilling masculinity in men, making men self-reliant, proud, and independent, yeah, that's a good thing, but And you could say MGTOW today encourages that, but I don't really think it does anything concrete to make that happen, right? And then it says, by instilling femininity in women, we make them nurturing, supporting, and responsible. Yeah, I guess that's true. By working for a limited government, we are working for freedom and justice. Yeah, well, I mean, only anarcho-capitalism is real freedom, but yeah, you have way more freedom under a libertarian government than you do like when you're under a monstrous empire like ours, which makes everything either legal or illegal. It's totally insane. And then it says women having other qualities is not interesting to men because we don't need them. Yeah, pretty much. Femininity will be the price that women pay for enjoying masculinity in men. Yeah, that's true. Like, if they want masculine men, they got to get the fuck out of the way. They got to get out of the workforce. They got to stop competing with us. They got to stop being sexually promiscuous, etc., etc. Yeah, femininity is the price that women pay for enjoying masculinity in men. They want to be men themselves, but at the same time, they want a man stronger than them. It's like how they want to they want to be with a man who earns more than them, but they also at the same time complain about making less than men. It's like, do you want all men to make more money than you, and so you all get to be with a man who makes more money than you, or do you want to make the same amount? It's like they want to have their cake and eat it too, women do. They all want, to make as much money as men, but at the same time, they want to be with a man who makes more money than them, which is crazy. It's like, yeah, that's possible for a few women, but that's not possible for all women. And the women who are with those top guys, they don't even need to work, and a lot of them don't even want to work. So it's like, they should just get the hell out of the workforce. It's crazy. Yeah, femininity is the price that they pay for enjoying masculinity in men, but femininity is such that they enjoy being feminine. They like that submissive, dominated place. They like being in that place, especially if they're not sluts and they're not brainwashed by feminism. They like being feminine. So I wouldn't even consider femininity a price that they have to pay. I would consider obedience a price that they have to pay. Now, obedience is the best form of femininity, but I wouldn't call it the only form of femininity. So, distinction needs to be drawn. But, I would say obedience is the price that women have to pay for enjoying masculinity in men in a functional society. More important, they got to pay that price to have a functional, sane, peaceful, fair, prosperous society where they'll be happy. And then it says, is the aim of men going their own way? By holding this point of view, we're helping other men, and more importantly, we're helping boys grow up to become men. Yes, men do need male role models these days, because most men are pussies who refuse to overthrow the government or stand for freedom in any real concrete way. But conservatives have been complaining about, liberalism and blah, blah, blah for decades now, and they didn't do anything substantive. You see, so this whole walk away thing is totally ridiculous in a sense, because, conservatives have been walking away from liberalism in a sense for decades. But since they're still living in the same society, since they're still paying taxes, since they're not, forming no-go zones or communes or anything, and since they're not actually getting their women under control, since they're not saving sound money, etc., this means that, they're quote-unquote walking away from liberalism, the conservatives, for the last several decades. They've been walking away from liberalism just as much as MGTOW men are walking away from women, and that is, they're not really walking away at all. But they're saying they're, walking away. But, past few decades, conservatives have not been saying they're walking away from liberalism, but they've been complaining about liberalism, acting like they have nothing to do with it. But yet, liberalism has just grown and rolled over them like a steamroller because they didn't actually do anything. They didn't all start saving and sound money or forming communes or something. You see, so liberalism just mowed them over, And same thing with the MGTOW movement. It's not going to do anything either unless those men join together, like actually is mentioned here later on. But men should be helping boys to grow up to be men because, boys these days don't really have any male role models. They either don't see their fathers or their fathers are way too feminine, let their wife tell them what to do, and their fathers are refusing to wage revolutionary war or start their own communes or anything. So, their fathers aren't good examples of men either. But I want to point out that, maybe I was going to point this out later, but I don't know, maybe it was here. I'll say it in case so I don't forget. But, the reason boys are not growing up to become real men these days is also biological. And this manifesto does not address that fact. Testosterone has been going down 1 to 1.5% per year, every year for decades now. So the guys who are in their 20s today have the same testosterone level of the guys who are in their 40s today. In other words, each generation has less testosterone than the generation before. So men are literally becoming more and more feminine as their testosterone level goes further and further down due to, greater and greater levels of pesticides in the food, glyphosate being used on the crops in greater and greater amounts, as well as BPA on the receipts and all this, and probably a little bit of dysgenics from war. You know, the bravest men have been getting killed off for 100 years now in all the wars. Okay, it's kind of crazy that we've waged all these wars, but we've not been waging any revolutionary wars. You know, those are the only wars that are worthwhile. You know, either defensive wars or revolutionary wars. And most of the wars over the last, 60, 70, 80 years have not, or 100 years actually, have not been defensive wars. They've been offensive wars, and they've not been revolutionary wars. We haven't had a revolutionary war since the Civil War. It's ridiculous, right? So, if we don't address this lowering testosterone level, how this, everyone's testosterone level is getting lower and lower year after year. Each year's boys are more feminine than the ones before because of testosterone declining, because of the pesticides and the BPA and stuff. This makes it so that boys are not growing up to become men, not just the bad example that their fathers and grandfathers are setting. And then it says, the goal is to take away everyone's right to vote on other people's affairs, thus rendering it impossible for political organisms and ideologies to impose their personal will on everyone else. It's not about reinstalling patriarchy or revoking female rights or making socialism illegal. Might have that as a side effect, but not directly, not as a political ideology. Only the future will show what happens, and by going our own way, we're preparing men and boys for that future. Well, yes, if you're truly going your own way in the MGTOW Manifesto way, that is like being moral, joining together, not selling other men under the bus, like it said at the end there, or near the end there. Yeah, but that's not what MGTOW men are doing today. Promiscuity does throw other men under the bus. It turns other men into incels. It makes it so the men have no leverage with women, et cetera, et cetera. And how can you grow up to be a man if you can't even have basic experiences like, having sex or, having a girlfriend or anything like that due to the massive promiscuity of the men at the top who are calling themselves MGTOW and throwing all men under the bus by being MGTOW, by being promiscuous. You see? I totally agree with this, that you should take away everyone's quote-unquote right to vote on everybody's affairs, rendering it impossible for political organizations and ideologies to impose their personal will on everybody else. Yeah, this is a problem, but you had to red pill everybody to make everybody appreciate freedom if you're going to do that. But people are not getting red pilled. People don't appreciate freedom, so you got to walk away. You got to form your own commune or no-go zone or new country, because people are not going to wake up. They keep wanting government to save them and tell them what to do and take away their rights, and like, oh yeah, we gotta restrict people's right to travel in a when we have coronavirus or some kind of virus like that, some kind of pandemic. When it's a pandemic, we got to take away people's rights, or like, we got to take away men's rights, because men can't be good fathers. We got to let the government, insinuate itself into every little crevice of our lives. You know what I mean? Like, people are not changing their opinions on this. It's just getting worse and worse. They want big daddy government to, do everything or whatever. I mean, it's just absolute insanity. It's not going to change. So we have to walk away by forming our own communes or no-go zones or a new country. So yeah, they're basically right about that, but I think perhaps slightly off because they're not fanatical enough. And then it says, important for men to have a practical approach to implement our strategies. Exactly. We got to do something way more proactive than just sit around and complain about female nature or complain about legal misandry or say, oh, the government's too big, you can't fight it, etc., etc. You got to be practical, and Muslims have proved that you can do it. You can form a no-go zone. The Muslims do it in Europe, so why can't we? Seriously, there's no reason we can't. And then it says, prime strategies for achieving our goals. We have 3 main strategies: instilling masculinity in men by demanding respect for men, serving as good male role models. I'm glad they said that as the next one, because when I was reading this the first time, when I first read this manifesto, I read demanding respect for men. I'm like, what? Men today don't deserve respect. And then I read the next one. It says serving as good male role models. So I was like, okay, well, there you go. If you're telling men to be good role models so that they deserve respect they're being given, then yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then it says living independent lives, and then it says fighting chivalry. Okay, living independent lives. What does that mean? I mean, independent from what? I mean, obviously, we should be living independent of the government. Hence, we should be forming no-go zones or communes or a new country. And then fighting chivalry. Yes, I totally agree with that. MGTOW does do that. Encouraging men not to simp and stuff. But these MGTOW men at the top, like Yan Ling and Alt MGTOW and all these guys, these kind of guys are the very creators of gynocentrism, and they're continuing to sustain gynocentrism by being promiscuous. Promiscuity is the very cause of gynocentrism, because it makes the men in the middle, and especially the men at the bottom, have to simp to get anything from women, or rather they're forced into the position of simping because their SMV is so low, because the women are being allowed to all go after the top guys in a very polyamorous, polygynous kind of way. And so it really is a situation where it's like, How can you fight chivalry when you're forcing these middle and lower middle, men to, like, let's say you're forcing the bottom 50% or 60% of men into, simping because their SMV is so low, because, women all think they can get the top guys, because the top guys are all sleeping with not just one woman, but multiple women. You see, making for a shortage of women, so to compete with other men, they have to offer more, and that's the definition of simping. So, it's the promiscuous men at the top of MGTOW who are claiming that we should be fighting chivalry and not be simping, but yet they, by being promiscuous, are the very creators of men having to be simps. They're the very creators of simpishness, even though they're not simps themselves. Number 2, installing femininity in women. We will hold women accountable to men and ignore and shun those who refuse to take any responsibility for their own circumstances. Thus, we induce women to take a complementary position with men instead of a competitive position, as is now the case. Exactly. That's what traditionalism did. That's what I've said before in past videos, that, we need to make women, put them in a complementary position instead of a competitive position. We don't even have to force them. We can just walk away, form our own no-go zones, and then if they're all male, women are going to desperately want to join, especially if the no-go zone has 100,000 or more men in it, and if those men are typically quite masculine and intelligent, and if those men are brave, they're willing to die to keep the government out of the no-go zone, and if those, men are actually fairly prosperous because of using sound money. Then women will absolutely want to join such a commune as that, and then they'll volunteer. And then men will be like, hey, you got to give up all your rights if you want to, come into this no-go zone. You got to marry one of the men in the no-go zone. You got to give up all your rights, and no divorce allowed, no matter what. Then the women will be like, okay, sounds good. They'll give up all their rights voluntarily. And but as far as holding women accountable, I think we need to hold them accountable by walking away and getting them to cave, rather than telling them to start being responsible, because they're never going to be responsible for themselves, because that's not how women are. You have to force them to be responsible, or walk away from them and then make them pursue you and then voluntarily offer to give up all their rights. Or at least when you ask them to give up all their rights, say that's the condition, then they'll be like, okay. And then they'll be responsible, and then you just spank the hell out of them when they misbehave. And that's how you keep them responsible. And then it says, feminine qualities we want from women: nurturing, supportive, responsibility, respectfulness, honesty. Okay, I would add to this chastity until marriage, and no extramarital sex either. So no degeneracy. Yeah, they should be all those things they mentioned: honest, respectful, responsible, supportive, and nurturing, but they should also be chaste until marriage and faithful, and not sexually degenerate at all either. Number 3, limited government. In order to be independent of society and live within it, because let me go back a little bit. That's why women are not supportive, nurturing, responsible, respectful, honest, etc. Because they totally lose their souls through premarital sex. When they have sex with more than one guy, when they have sex with guys before their husband, even if it's only one guy, that significantly raises their chances of divorce, because they can only pair bond their first sexual partner, who should be their husband, but these days is not. And so if you want to make women honest, respectful, nurturing, supportive, and responsible again, you have to make them only have sex with one man in their whole life. Unless, of course, in the rare circumstances that their husband dies, and then they're still young enough to remarry. But yeah, they should be losing their virginity on their wedding night. And you can't let women lose their virginity before their wedding night either, because then the guy could choose not to marry her, and then she's screwed. No pun intended. Her life is ruined. She can't pair bond with the guy she actually does marry then. And also, if they don't work out, maybe he doesn't dump her, but maybe, she dumps him, or, they break up or whatever, mutual thing, then it's now she's ruined, So you have to hold her losing her virginity off until her wedding night. Number 3, limited government. In order to be independent of society and live within it, while at the same time work for limiting governmental influence upon our daily lives, men will go their own way, support other men, legally reduce any tax paying, truthfully act out any duties in accordance with their conscience, use any rights to the benefit of other men as well as themselves. Okay, yeah, see, look at that. They're saying, benefit other men, not just yourself. I don't really understand what they mean by use any rights. Maybe they say anything that's legal that will benefit us, do that. Like exercising your First Amendment rights, for example, or your Second Amendment rights. And then it says, truthfully act out any duties in accordance with your conscience. Isn't that funny? MGTOW rarely ever uses the word conscience. right? And that just says so much about MGTOW these days, that, the MGTOW Manifesto does talk about acting in accordance with your conscience, but most MGTOW men these days don't talk about acting in accordance with your conscience. And this is 20 years ago, so this just backs up what I'm saying. Like, I was alive back then. I remember how things were in the early 2000s and the 90s. Things were way, way better back then. They had already gotten pretty fucked up, I had noticed, even back then, but they were way better than they are now. And legally reduce any tax paying. Okay, tax paying is something that is like, if it's unjust, you shouldn't do it, So I understand them, wanting to not get in trouble with the law by saying legally reduce tax paying, but like, not paying any taxes at all is way, way better. Like Zeitgeist Eater has the balls to say, and which I really appreciate him saying, which is, don't pay any taxes at all. Support other men. Yes, exactly. Like MGTOW today doesn't talk about supporting other men, but the MGTOW Manifesto does, and that does say that the MGTOW Manifesto is way better, and these guys are way wiser than the MGTOWs of today. But then again, you got TFM, and he's Illuminati, and the other guys, DDJ, he's Illuminati, and probably maybe other top guys in MGTOW are Illuminati. I mean, look at the controversial stuff, the crazy nutso stuff TFM says. And yeah, some of it's as a joke, but he's at the same time serious as well. He advocates violence. He just doesn't straight up say it. He just implies it in jokes and stuff, but he means it. You know what I mean? And so, like, TFM is the kind of guy who, he should be kicked off of YouTube. I mean, ideally not, but like, if we were applying the same standard across the board, he'd have been kicked off too. Just like when Chris Cantu and, MGTOW 101 were kicked off, right? But he wasn't kicked off, and that's because he's Illuminati. And he's probably not the only one, I don't know about Big John, but, old MGTOW pointed out that he's a Freemason. He's got a Freemason ring, showed a picture of it. So, I'm a little suspicious of him too. But anyway, yeah, so they're not really, MGTOWs of today are not really trying to support other men, and this is the problem. And then it says, men going their own way, this is the logo. Every man supporting this idea is welcome to use this logo or in this or similar contexts. What we do as activism or the way we behave personally are the main tactics. Yeah, so they're like basically saying be moral, be responsible, right? But that's not what MGTOW says today. What we do as activism or the way we behave personally are the main tactics. Use of a logo which symbolizes the strategy. Run one or many websites and fora that promote this. Okay, yeah, a few MGTOWs have started their own websites or whatever, and Zeitgeist Eater started the Mirror, but, most MGTOW men are not doing that. They're just relying on YouTube, which, Zeitgeist Eater has warned people about. And then look at all the censorship they're doing. So, yeah, he was right. And then run one or more websites to tell the truth about feminism. Yep. But again, you got to contend with censorship, and then provide stickers, T-shirts, etc. The very statements such as chivalry is dead. Yeah, MGTOW's doing that. Writing articles supporting our product. Yeah, well, they make videos. Same thing, basically. Producing music promoting our product. Yeah, like that one song by that one group. What's his name? Red Pill Wisdom, RPW. He did a video of that song. That song was really catchy. That Mario song, like that is exactly what. Before that, I had been saying. I did a video, 1 or 2 videos saying MGTOW men need to start making music and stuff. Like really catchy songs that promote the MGTOW message and are just too catchy to get out of your head. Then the message will spread. Hold international events and local meetings, establishing men's clubs, boycotting certain products. Yeah, boycotting, right? Like, I think I've said this before. I've definitely made notes on my voice recorder to eventually make videos about it, which is that, like, men need to start doing more boycotting. It's ridiculous. But, then again, you'd have to boycott almost everything because almost every major multinational corporation is Illuminati. And so this is a situation of, like, the only way to do things, if you don't want to be funding evil, is to form your own no-go zone or your own new country, and then form your own companies within that no-go zone or new country. And then have, make your own non-Illuminati companies, because all other companies are Illuminati if they're, advertising on national news. So, you have to boycott everything by forming your own group, your own companies and stuff. This is the only way to do it. And so, this is really important to understand. Establishing men's clubs, yeah, men really, really, really need to do that. It's crazy that men are not establishing their own men's clubs. And again, hold international meetings and local meetings, right? Like same thing. Like they're saying organize in meat space, organize in the real world, which is what I'm saying when I say form a commune or form a no-go zone. And it's right there in the MGTOW Manifesto, telling people to, MGTOW men to meet together in real life. But no, they're too cowardly and they're too foolish. And so, no, they're just meeting online. And this is, in a sense, smart, but in another sense, very stupid and very insufficient. And then it says you'll basically be alone doing this. There's no organization supporting you. You just go your own way and do what you believe is right. You're never obligated beyond your own conscience. Look at that. Again, using the word conscience. True masculinity is also about accepting the rights of other men and not letting them down for any short-term personal benefits. There you go. Not letting other men down for short-term personal benefits. What is more short-term than the pleasure of an orgasm? Men are selling other men under the bus by being promiscuous. It's very, very simple. They're absolutely selling other men under the bus for short-term personal benefits. You know, this is way more in line with what I've been saying than with the MGTOW of today. You know, so I am absolutely right to criticize MGTOW, and anybody who doesn't think so should go read the MGTOW Manifesto, because what I talk about I think is way more similar to the MGTOW Manifesto, what MGTOW was originally supposed to be, than, you know, the MGTOW of today. And then it says the men's movement does actually cover a much larger picture. By instilling masculinity in others, as well as yourself, you will actually be improving the lives of everyone, including women and children. If it's not right, go your own way. Take care, brother. So that was the whole MGTOW Manifesto. I think that was pretty much all the commentary I had to do on it. This has been Redshift. I hope somebody learned something from this. At the very least, now you don't have to go out there and look up the MGTOW Manifesto yourself. Now you've heard it, and now you know my thoughts on it. So, you know, hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Hit the thumbs down button if you hated it. Peace trucks.